Well, we were talking about the text we saw of Eckhart Tolle about suffering, how to transform suffering into peace. You remember? Well, and he said that we had two chances what is the most important thing to accept. Do you remember? To accept whatever comes, what has to come, what life brings us, and that sometimes we have very challenging situations, and it is not easy to accept what is happening outside. But if we can't accept what happens outside, we can accept what happens inside. And we were talking about that if outside happens something, what happens outside is very unexpected or painful or shocking, well, we resist what is happening. And as a result of this resistance, an emotion is activated or triggered. This verb to trigger is a verb that is used a lot with emotions. And it comes, this word trigger, as many other words in English, can be used as a noun or as a verb. When we use it as a verb, it's like a synonym of to activate. And where it comes from? Because a trigger, what is a trigger? Do you know what is a trigger?
No.
When we use it as a noun?
No.
A trigger is one of the elements of a gun. That is the element that that someone uses to shoot, para disparar. This is a trigger. Entonces, in Spanish we say el gatillo. Entonces, and I said gatillo, and I remember that in Spanish we also use this word for it. ¿Viste cuando decís se te gatilló? Se gatilló algo. Es como que algo se activa. Entonces, when an emotion is triggered, it's triggered by a thought. And that is why becoming an observer is so important. Because if we get used bit by bit, because it is not it's not easy, because we are this that happens, that an emotion is triggered by a thought. It's something, it's a habit, and it's something very, very unconscious that we have been doing all our lives. But if we begin, that's why it's so important, this kind of inner work with ourselves. And that is why this in spirituality is called self-inquiry. When you begin to observe and to take time to look inside yourself, to look within, you, and this is another way of saying you begin to know yourself. So then you can start to get more control of your emotions, but because not it is not something, not by resisting. It's just the opposite. It's by accepting, to make an space for these emotions or whatever happens to you. This is the famous word, just let it be. Okay, and I chose this, I said that today we were going to see this contemplation. This is the transcription, and the name is by Mooji, and the name is Be the Truth You Are. And it is, you know that everything is connected and related, and this is, we were talking about what Eckhart Tolle says about this of our inner state, how to observe, and how acceptance works. And Mooji says something, you know that we always say that all the masters talked about the same, because of this, because the best thing we can do for ourselves is this. It is the best investment that we can do to know ourselves. And well, let's start reading this transcription. What he says. Read the first 2 paragraphs, and then we'll comment it.
Yes. Beloved, may I remind you of something, that if you stop for a moment, you will be able to verify every thought, every sensation, every emotion, every situation that appears through your mind and senses have come and gone.
Okay. Do you remember that last class when we saw also this short story that it is called The King and the Counselor, and the title of when we began to read was Trusting Life. And we saw the vocabulary, and one of the words was transition. And we talk about that transitions means that something is not forever and is not lasting, everlasting, or not eternal. And well, he is talking about the same, that, and this we discover just by observing, because it is like this. Every thought, every sensation, every emotion, none of them lasts forever. Everything comes and goes. And so they cannot be what we are. But what happens? That we resist these emotions of sadness, or anger, or every negative emotions, because we don't want to feel the pain, because we think that the pain is forever, and nothing is forever. So when we begin to observe, we can experience this. Okay, so let's go on.
That it's the nature of things for everyone, everywhere and always. It's only when we engage with them and strongly believe and identify with them that they create some shape within you. And then you are believing that and living that shape.
Okay, if the same we were talking about, that this, he says that in fact, what happens that we feel an emotion is triggered in us. Why this happens because we believe and we identify with our thoughts. So when we begin to observe ourselves and to discover why we are like we are, instead why we are feeling this, because we are believing a thought that says you, for instance, I don't know, you were telling me just a couple of minutes ago that you are starting a new work and you are undergoing the training period. And so sometimes you become nervous because it's something new for you. And well, if you begin to observe yourself, what will you discover? That why you feel nervous at that time, at a certain moment, because you believe a thought, and maybe this voice in your head, what is telling you, for instance, for example,
that I can make a mistake.
Okay, that you are not enough capable or intelligent to do this work. And it is not true. Everyone can learn. You have power and you have the capacity to do a work properly. But and this, we believe this, and why is so unconscious? Because this voice in our head, where it came from? It came from years and years of conditioning. And you know that psychologists say that this voice, in fact, is always the voice of our childhood. That of our mother, of our father, or someone, the person who brought us up. And well, and we it was so unconscious that this voice inside us that talks to us is not something normal. We are used to listen to have a voice in our head all the time talking to us, and this is not something. But as we psychologists or the spiritual masters also call them, apart, Eckhart Tolle says, the voice in our heads, and it is also called unobserved thoughts. Son los pensamientos no observados, and it is the same as saying that they are unconscious. If we are, so why when we begin to, that's why it's so important, this practice, to begin to observe them. And that's why they are so powerful, because and we are nobody. We are, but we have the power, not our thoughts. But first, we have to be aware of this. And to be aware, the only thing we have to do is beginning with this practice of observing ourselves and observe thoughts. Okay, so this is what Mooji is talking about here. When he says, it is only when we engage with them, when we engage with our thoughts and strongly believe and identify with them, that they create some shape within you. This shape is the same as some emotion is activated. And then you are believing and living that shape. That you call it, for instance, nervousness, anxiety, sadness, whatever. Okay, so let's go on.
Yes, but again, I tell you, and you must see and confirm. Has there been any thought or any sensation, any memory or desire that has come to your mind that has ever stayed with you? Everything comes and goes. If you can see and verify that this is so, then it means every thought, every feeling, every idea, every memory, every cherished feeling is, I can see, it is illusory.
Illusory. Even a cherished feeling. What is cherished? Something you love. And
Yes.
but everything comes and goes. Okay. And if it comes and goes, it means that it is illusory. We feel them as very, very real, but and it is not that we have to become indifferent to life. We have to enjoy, but this, when we begin to grasp or to understand the nature of everything that happens to us as emotions, in fact, this quality of the thoughts and of the memories, of emotions, of everything, this quality of being illusory or transient or temporary, in fact, is an advantage. Because you can, you have to be more, it frees you in fact, because this thing of that nothing stays with you, if you begin to get used to it and to understand this, your life becomes lighter. Es como que uno se vuelve más liviano porque total. Pero no not with indifference, that with the sensation that everything, you can enjoy something because it is temporary and it will pass. But and then, yes, if it is something beautiful or that makes you happy, well, it's okay. Then another thing will come, but then this other thing will also pass and come other thing. And when we begin to develop the certainty that everything comes and goes, and that what comes next will be better, we begin to not care. It doesn't matter. I remember a phrase from Krishnamurti. And Krishnamurti was another spiritual teacher of last century. He was Hindu. And one day he was asked, what is your secret to be so, because he was like, and he was enlightened. So he was at peace, and you know that when you see this kind of person, you say, I want to have what you have. Tell me, how did you do it? And he said, my secret is just this. I don't mind what happens. Yes, because, but it has to do with trust, with begin to, because we are talking about this. We are beginning to understand what is this, but this is something that goes beyond, not only that, because it is not, we are not going to fully understand this just by reading the text. We have to begin to experience this. That is why spirituality has to do with going deeper and deeper and be patient and take time for this. Okay, so let's go on a bit more.
Okay, none of it's real. None of it. Whatever you believe about yourself, I am this, I am that, were all thought formations, all thought-based, ignite and preserved through the faculty of memory.
Okay, ignited and preserved. You know that sometimes the ed is pronounced and sometimes it's not. Here we have two examples. One is pronounced and the other no. Usually when we have a T, like, because a T preceded, well, here we have an I, but it's the same, the pronunciation is the same, for instance, with other words that are more usual, with other verbs. For example, wanted, visited. If you have a T, I, and an N close to it, the ed, the e of the ending ed is pronounced. So ignited and preserved.
Preserved.
And what is to ignite? A fire is ignited. Encender. That's why said, where I am this, I am that. None of it is real. Wherever you believe about yourself, were all thought formations, all thought-based. Ignited is a synonym of what, of triggered, of activated, and preserved through this faculty of memory. Okay, but what happens?
Behind this, the unchanging and complete expanse of God's grace and presence, you are this. You are watching all this dance of life appearing through the mind, as thoughts, feelings, emotions, sensations, but none of them stick onto the pure self.
Okay. We were talking about that we have to learn to go beyond. And that's what it says here. Behind this, or beyond this, detrás de esto, o más allá de todo esto, of our thoughts, our feelings, our emotions, the unchanging and complete expanse of God's grace and presence. And this is what we begin to discover with this practice. When we consciously choose just to observe our thoughts, but not engage with them, and we can do this by start to pay attention to our breathing, and we stop giving our energy to the thoughts. What happens? That we begin to feel the inner vibration of our body, and immediately we feel peace. And this peace is this. He calls it the grace and presence of God within ourselves. And this is what we really are. And this is the thing that doesn't pass. We are always observing from this place, but we are not aware of it, because the mind makes a lot of noise. But we have to, this is a new way of living. This is a new discovery. He says, Mooji says, no one has taught you this. Nadie nos enseñó a mirar esto. Well, and here he says, let's go on. He says, you are watching all this dance of life, appearing through the mind as thoughts, feelings, emotions, sensations, but none of them stick onto the pure self. To stick, what is to stick? Nada se te pega, o sea, because there is something inside you that is always there. It's what Eckhart Tolle also calls it the presence. And this is, we can only discover this is if we are present at this moment and observing what we feel. Because if we, and it is very easy to get distracted. That's why the mind does his work, and his work is to getting us out of present. By what? By these disturbing thoughts of future or of past. Okay, let's go on a bit more. Look,
see, admit and confirm, and live in your natural joy and freedom. Take this message inside you. I will walk alongside you to remind you of this inside your heart. Be courageous. Don't give in to your mind. And all this you will come to see this very day. God bless you.
Okay. He says, take, look, see, admit, and confirm, and live in your natural joy and freedom. So we can confirm and see this by ourselves. And we have, you know, that at the beginning of our class today, or of our meeting, I tell you that you have to be patient with yourself? Well, this is a practice that we have to be patient, and we have to accept and admit that at the beginning it won't last. It may be we can do it for just a couple of minutes, that we feel we can do all this of disengaging from our thoughts and focus our attention inside or in our heart. But it doesn't matter, because it's so beautiful what we begin to experience, that then we will want to keep on practicing it a bit more and a bit more and a bit more. So don't mind. Don't mind what happens. If it is just for a couple of minutes, it's okay. And that's why at the end he says, be courageous. What is to be courageous? To have courage. Because why? Because the mind is powerful. So you have to have courage to decide, to choose, to see, well, no, I'm going to do this just for a couple of minutes. It doesn't matter. Then man can take me away. But try to focus on this. And he says, that's why he says, don't give in to your mind. To give in, what is to give in? To give in is to give the power to someone else. In Spanish we say ceder. No cedas a la mente. Es como que we sometimes it happens when we are tired of resisting. Okay, but we can use, it's something very important to begin to feel that we have the power, not our mind. So let's now let's try to do this. Let's practice this. Just we are going to listen to him, that we in this contemplation, but at least just for a couple of minutes, try to do this, to follow his words and his advice and see what happens. Just for a couple of minutes. Okay, let's share the sound and try to make use of these tools that we have. At least focus on your breathing and don't follow your mind and your thoughts for a bit. Okay. You can close your eyes if you want or not. It depends. It's up to you.
Beloved, may I remind you of something that you, if you stop for a moment, you will be able to verify. Every thought, every sensation, every emotion, every situation that appears through your mind and senses have come and gone. That is the nature of things for everyone, everywhere, and always. It is only when we engage with them and strongly believe and identify with them that they create some shape within you, and then you are believing that and living that shape. But again, I tell you, and you must see and confirm, has there been any thought or any sensation, any memory or desire that has come to your mind that has ever stayed with you. Everything comes and goes. If you can see and verify that this is so, then it means every thought, every feeling, every idea, every memory, every cherished feeling is illusory. None of it is real. None of it. Whatever you believe about yourself, I am this, I'm that, were all thought formations, all thought base, ignited and preserved through the faculty of memory. Behind this, the unchanging and complete expanse of God's grace and presence. You are this. You're watching all this dance of life appearing through the mind as thoughts, feelings, emotions, sensations. But none of them stick onto the pure self. Look, see, admit, and confirm, and live in your natural joy and freedom. Take this message inside you. I will walk alongside you to remind you of this inside your heart. Be courageous. Don't give in to your mind. And all this you will come to see this very day. God bless you. Om.
Wow. It's something beautiful what happened just when we are not engaging with any thought. And we are this of becoming more aware of our inner state and state with us. So, and sometimes it's we need these moments, and you know that it's not that you will have to be alone the rest of your life, but there are moments for this. And if you begin to discover what you really are, this peace that you are, and you begin to develop this of not caring about things or not being engaged with the drama of your life, because everything comes and goes. So let's take advantage of this. If we have the opportunity, just to at least to try something different, because we have tried many things and we are starting to realize that there is something that is not working outside. And that the answers are not outside. Are here. So, as Mooji says, be courageous and stay with yourself. And I can tell you that you will begin to fall in love with this piece that it is. And it's he says that we are like beggars. You know what is a beggar? That is sit on the top of a treasure and he doesn't realize it. And that's why he's begging for a lot of... Nosotros estamos tan acostumbrados a eso, a estar buscando afuera, a pensar que nos falta algo. Y this thing that is missing is here. So don't miss the chance to discover it. Well, my friend, tell me before we finish, tell me what is your experience, or what do you think about this? If you think that it is something useful, if it is how it, because I know that you are going through a challenging time. So how are you dealing with this? Are you trying to at least practice a bit of this, of being with you? Or
yes, I'm trying to get some moments to relax, to listen to music, relaxing music. And sometimes I listen on Spotify some podcasts of the masters, and try to concentrate on their words. And it's very useful.
yes.
It's relaxing, and I feel peace for a little bit of time.
But you are doing something important, because you are choosing this.
Yes.
And you are finding that this is something that helps you.
Yes.
Because you said you mention and you repeat the words relaxing and peace. And why do you feel this? Because you are not thinking at that moment. It may be just for some minutes. I remember that when I worked in an office, I had my way to the office only was I work near my home. It was, and I went in a bicycle, by bike, and it took me just 10 minutes or 15 minutes at the most to get to the office. And during that 10 minutes, I was doing what you do, that I listened to a podcast, and it was very, very different, the way my day started. That with way it's, but you begin to discover that this peace, in fact, is within you. So at first it's kind of difficult not to keep being aware of this, but with time, when you begin to discover that this peace is what you are, and that nothing outside can take it away, you begin to, your life begins to change. Okay, well, my friend, thank you. Thank you for this time, for sharing, and well, see you.
See you.
See you soon. Yes. In spite of all the changes and all the schedules that change, it doesn't matter. We will manage to keep on having these moments because they are important and they are very useful. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye.